So I have severe epilepsy and have a service dog Onyx. Now Onyx does have time to cuddle and relax and be at rest and just be a dog. But when he is working at keeping me alive. He saved my life multiple times. Now my friend has been coming over a lot recently to visit. I love her but have an issue with her husband. He's one of those types who harbors the belief that if he's a man it makes him superior to women. He also doesn't believe in invisible disabilities, and because of Onyx, he's never seen me have a seizure. Last week they came over and her husband was being playful with Onyx, which was fine as he was at rest. A little while later though, the husband began asking if he could dog sit sometime, bring Onyx to their place for a sleepover. I said no and explained again that Onyx is a service dog and I needed him to stay alive. Her husband got an attitude and told me Onyx wasn't a machine and I had no right to deprive him of fun. Then he pulled the "I'm a man, so I know more than you" card by explaining that I was wrong and he was right and I could go one night without Onyx and control my seizures. All this time my friend sat on the couch saying nothing. I asked him to leave and after some huffing and puffing about how rude I am and what happened to manners and Onyx would have had fun, they both did. Now today my friend called asking if they could stop by. I explained that I would love to have her over, but her husband was no longer welcome. She got upset and told me that he was just like that and it was hard to tell sometimes because he had never seen me have a full-blown seizure. I got kinda mad and sarcastically asked her if I should purposely cause a seizure so her husband was comfortable. She just kept repeating that he meant no harm and wanted Onyx to have fun. I just told her again that she is welcome, but he is not. Am I the idiot? I feel awful and feel like I'm creating an issue, but that man is just toxic energy and I worry that his disbelief of my need for a service animal will cause him to do something completely crazy. Not the idiot, the dog is your service dog. It screws that he is unable to understand that. Are there other things that you don't like about him? Or is it just this? If it's just this, then maybe, if you value the friendship, you would be willing to explain to the husband some of the times the dog has helped you. To help him understand. It's not your responsibility to teach anyone or talk about your medical issues. And if you are not comfortable, then that's okay. But if you really value the friendship, and if otherwise, he is good guy, educating may really help him be less of a jerk about it. Not the idiot. Onyx has probably saved your life. My sister is epileptic and luckily her meds work for the most part. The very few times she does have a seizure, she's hit her head on the side of a granite sink at a friend's house and split her head open in the middle of the night, so she awoke, thank God, who knows how long later, and woke her friend and got medical attention immediately. It's sad as each time she has a seizure like this, she loses her license for 6 months and they have to readjust her meds. Not the idiot. He's just like that. Is such crap, and the appropriate response is yes. I know he's like that. That is why he is no longer welcome in my home. I'm so glad you understand. Repeat until she gets it. My husband has a friend from high school he stays in some touch with. The nicest thing I've heard anyone say about him is he's an idiot, but he's an idiot to everyone, it's nothing personal. I've let my husband know he can stay in touch with whomever he wants, but he does not get to put me in a position of having to tolerate P and his behavior. As a bit of background, I, 21, and my girlfriend, 20, are in a relationship for roughly a year now. I had asthma ever since I can remember and I react strongly when exposed to various deodorants or perfumes. For those who don't know, imagine feeling like you would suffocate but cannot die, so you just sit there vibing while desperately trying to breathe. Like you just wheeze your back off and wish you could just yank someone else's lungs and implant it inside yourself. Anyways, in most cases, it's the cheap ones I react to, and mostly it's a female fragrance. Now comes the part with my girlfriend. She has this one perfume, funnily it isn't even a cheap one, which she really likes. The only problem is that I react pretty strongly to this one. I mean, her presence is enough to kick off my asthma, and in most cases, I have to leave the house and use my inhaler to get back on track. I mentioned this a few times to her, but she still uses it. She even applied it next to while we were in the same room, and I think you know what happened next. All fine to this point, just that one little incident. After that I asked her if she would stop using it or at least use it less, and when she does so if she could do it in the bathroom. She was a bit pissy at first, maybe because I become an idiot under the fact of, I don't know, literally suffocating, but agreed she would do so. Since then nothing happened. forward to a few weeks ago. I was at her place while we were getting ready for a birthday party. All of a sudden, while I just tied my shoes, I got hit by this one perfume again. Without a word, I stood up and immediately left the room to use my inhaler. The second I came back to normal breathing, my girlfriend asked me what was wrong. I told her in a half-yelling, half-wheezing voice what was wrong. She then proceeded to yell back at me and say some stuff about how this is her place and it is her body, so she can do with it whatever she wants. I needed a bit of a moment to process this, to be honest, and after that, I just told her back off with her bodily autonomy crap and that it doesn't matter when it risks my physical health. She then told me to get out, as I did, and said some stuff about how I was abusive, the hell, and all. Naturally, I didn't went to the birthday party, but the next day I woke up to a bunch of messages of mutuals saying I am an idiot because I would be controlling, and basically the same crap my girlfriend told me. Now seriously, I don't think I am an idiot, but I want to hear it from other people, so yay, please feel free to judge as you want. Not the idiot. She clearly doesn't care about you or the fact that you literally cannot breathe because of her perfume. If her bodily autonomy is so much more important to her than letting you breathe, you should let her take that bodily autonomy elsewhere, far, far away from you. Your health is more important, and you should leave a toxic person who calls you abusive and controlling for wanting to literally breathe. Also, she's manipulative. Your mutual friends are probably ill-informed and don't know your asthma kicks in with a single whiff of her perfume. Not the idiot, no, this is not an it's my body situation, because OP's body is the one having the potentially fatal reaction to her stupid perfume. You should feel free to tell her that you don't have to accept having your body exposed to something that requires a medical intervention, and if any time she insists on applying this stuff and you get a reaction, that's the end of whatever you two had planned for the day. You should get your inhaler and leave. She and her perfume can enjoy their day alone. I had the same thing happen to me with my fiancé. I have asthma also, but I know my triggers and perfumes or deodorant don't usually affect me. One day he sprayed some deodorant that he'd never used before that had some strange vanilla extract. I had an asthma attack and it was awful. He profusely apologized and immediately threw it out. That's how a partner should act, and I would do the same if the roles were reversed. You're not the idiot, your girlfriend is. I am the youngest in a group of 3 female friends aged 23 to 27. Let's call them A, B, C, and me. I had a miscarriage in 2018 at 8 weeks. She was devastated, understandably. We were of course very supportive, helped her through anything and everything we could, and she was having regular therapy. After 6 months she was so much better, eating, sleeping, and just generally living her life again. Then she joined the support group for babies born sleeping, stopped therapy, and became obsessed with her lost baby. She has a whole shrine for it now. She posts about her miscarriage every day. She's blaming the fluoride in the water for her miscarriage, or the Wi-Fi, and says the government wanted her to lose her baby, so she couldn't receive benefits. Just all this crazy stuff. We were really worried about her, so we gently suggested going back to therapy, but she said her support group warned her we might do that. She now says that therapy is trying to erase the memory of her baby and makes her feel guilty for grieving. So the idiot bit, we were having lunch after B's mother passed away in a car accident. It was devastating, and the whole family has been torn apart over inheritance. B is an executor of the will, being the oldest child. After small talk, A launches into a conversation about how the government might also be the cause of B's mother's death because the roads are of bad quality. She had a barrage of comments like, "Oh, I know exactly how you're feeling when I lost my baby," then talked about her miscarriage for the millionth time. Finally, she finished with, "Well, at least you don't have to bury a baby. I would have done anything for 48 years with my child." B lost her crap. She screamed that A was becoming a lunatic, that her entire identity is her miscarriage of 8 weeks she had years ago, that she has no idea how she feels because she lost a clump of cells, and B lost the woman she admired most in her life, and is realizing her family is garbage now that money is involved. Then she stormed away. B burst into tears and said she knew people wouldn't understand her grief, that we're all ignorant to the lies we are fed, and that her baby was murdered, not lost. She was looking at us to probably defend her. Me and C just stayed quiet. Honestly, it has been exhausting always talking about her miscarriage. I myself have had one, so I know it affects everyone differently, but I just stayed silent. I feel like I've done everything to help A that I possibly can. After not saying much, she called us cruel idiots who would never understand what she was going through. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. And need some serious help. A year ago I lost a baby at 21 weeks, I labored and delivered him, it was more than some heavy bleeding, which, to be honest, an 8-week miscarriage would have been. I'm also in an amazing support group online. However, the difference is that A has clearly let this become the sole focus of her life, which is unhealthy. It does sound cult-like and dangerous. In B's situation I would have said exactly the same thing. I need some major professional help. This is going to sound really cruel and I apologize for that, but honestly, at 8 weeks, you're hardly pregnant, you've just missed a period or two. If she hadn't have taken a test, she probably never would have suspected it was a miscarriage, just that her period was coming a bit late. Not the idiot, your friend was way out of line, and her sleeping baby's page is freaked up. I apologize again, but her baby wasn't born sleeping, it pretty much equivalates to passing a blood clot. Not the idiot. I had a miscarriage in April of last year. It was awful and I was super depressed at the time because it's a horrible experience. Just like any loss, all you can really think about is the what ifs. Y'all aren't saying she can't be sad about it, you're saying she can't compare it to the loss of B's mom. There's no comparison to be made there, they are just not the same. That group is toxic. Full of women who are seeking pity and creating an echo chamber for their trauma. Okay. So my girlfriend, 24, and I, 23, were asked out to lunch by our good friend, 24. She said she had something important to ask us, so we heard her out. At lunch, she asked me if I would become the father of her child. I've been in a relationship with my girlfriend for a few years now, and this took us both off guard. Basically, she said she wants my genes for her kid. I knew she had a crush on me for a while now, but I didn't have any clue about this. To make the situation worse, she doesn't like the idea of donation and just wants to have a one-night stand with me in order to get pregnant. My girlfriend was understandably livid. I had absolutely no intention on having a one-night stand with her, but I wasn't so quick to oppose sperm donation verbally. I was not going to agree. But just didn't say anything. I didn't think it was that insulting to my girlfriend at first and was more confused than anything. Both my girlfriend and I weren't planning to have any kids or anything like that, and our friend promised us I could sign a contract so I could never be held responsible for child support. The point is, my girlfriend is mad at me because I didn't outwardly and verbally reject the idea of having another woman's baby. I do not want to and do not plan to. I'm just baffled by the whole thing, but apparently, I'm an idiot for not being so quick to reject this. Again, to clear up the confusion, I never considered being a donor, just didn't say anything. Am I? Should I be so quick to say of course not? Am I the idiot for not saying no abruptly? I said I wasn't going to sleep with our friend, but my girlfriend still hates this whole idea. I haven't decided what I'm doing yet. I'm just confused. Sorry if this makes no sense, I'm still a little out of it. You're the idiot. And you're an idiot if you agree to this. This donation is the golden handcuff, this chick will have you in her life forever through a child. Don't flatter yourself that it's your amazing genes she wants. She literally wants you in her life for as long as possible, and this is a great way to do it. And to potentially get child support out of it. Props to your girlfriend. You should probably marry her, so she can continue to advise you against even considering really dumb crap like this. Not the idiot. If a girl asked my husband this, he'd probably either laugh or be so shocked he says absolutely nothing. This is such a weird situation. Like something from a terrible movie or TV show. Based on updates, this girl clearly just wants to make love with you under a false pretense of having a kid. She's an idiot for even asking you to donate. There are plenty of donors at alleged donor bank. She can make her happy there. The whole thing about genes is crap. You have no idea how any physical genes are going to turn out. She needs to get over herself. Not the idiot. Hasn't your girlfriend ever heard of being in a state of shock? When I'm shocked, I don't always respond right away. It takes me a while to process something, and the more bizarre it is, the longer it takes my brain to muddle through it and cobble together a response. Also, I would end the friendship with a woman who wants to get pregnant by you. I think her request was very disrespectful of you and your girlfriend, and I wouldn't trust any contract she would set up, especially if she has a history of a crush on you. Background info. I, 45, was born in Mumbai and moved to the United States for college, where I met my husband, 46. We currently have one daughter, 12. My mother has moved in with us during the pandemic as she feels safer here. My mother is very old-fashioned and believes that a woman on her period is dirty and shouldn't be allowed to worship, handle food, or touch plants. I am firmly against those beliefs and do all those things, regardless of my period. My husband also doesn't believe in all that. The problem starts here. My daughter started her period yesterday and told me. I luckily had her prepared with information and I kept extra pads in the house for this reason. When my daughter came out of the bathroom, however, I told her to hide her period. This essentially meant that I wanted her to keep her pads in her room, wrap up any used ones very tightly, toss them into the trash discreetly, and take the bathroom trash out every day. I also wanted her to not talk about her period near her grandmother, as I know she would freak out and start forcing my daughter to conform to all her crazy, old-fashioned demands, as she did to me when I was a girl. I have also been hiding evidence of my period while my mother has been staying with us. This made my daughter upset. I know this is partly because my husband and I have both taught her that there is nothing shameful about her body, and telling her to hide her period is going against that, but I don't want her to become a victim of my mother's constant spewing of nonsense. My daughter loves to help me cook, work in our garden with her dad, and she occasionally prays with my mother in the mornings. She doesn't need to be barred from that just because her body is functioning correctly. So, am I the idiot for telling my daughter to hide her period? Not the idiot, family dynamics are hard. Sometimes it really is better to just make the easier choice than to have a full family war about something no one is going to change their mind on. I wonder if all the "you are the idiot" people confess everything they do that their parents wouldn't approve of. Surely some things you just don't share because why upset everyone? Life just isn't that easy. It's good of you to care for your mother. I do think your daughter will understand when she gets older. If your mother, daughter's grandmother, is going to be living with you for more than a few days, then you are the idiot. This is your daughter's home, where she needs to feel safe and comfortable. You can't tell her one thing, that periods are natural and not to be ashamed of, and show or force her to do another, hide your period and be afraid, and expect her to feel comfortable or benefit from what you are saying. If your mother is living with you for an extended period, it is time to stand up for what you, your husband, and your daughter believe in. I am not going to call you an idiot because I know how desi parents can be. You are probably choosing the easier way out rather than confronting your mother and subjecting your daughter to unwanted things. But you need to stop telling your daughter to hide her periods. She is 12 and making her hide her periods might make her feel like she is being shamed. Don't make her go out of her way to hide it, and if your mom raises an issue, put your foot down and have a conversation with her. You need to do this for your daughter.